Hey, everybody, it's Dave Cooper and Jennifer. How are you today?
Hi, everyone.
So here we are. We have another episode of Building Modular, episode 12.
Can you believe it? Thanks for sticking with us,
12.
everybody.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with us is, I think, more what you wanted to say, right?
Wow.
So as always, I'm scrambling to get all my stuff put up on the screen here. But listen, so today, Jennifer, is going to be kind of fun because we are going to talk about final inspections and what it truly means to have a zero punch list.
I love how you put fun with final inspections because I don't know if a lot of builders put those two words together.
Well, they should. They definitely should. I'm changing. I don't like that green, Jennifer. I'm changing it.
Oh my gosh.
I like that better. You like that better? It's driving me crazy. It's driving me crazy. All right. So, Jen, we got a presentation which I'm supposed to have up on the screen already. And I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah. And like Dave said, we're talking about, we're at the tail end of the process now, right? We're getting ready to hand this beautiful new project over to the client, over to the homeowners, and let them get moving and grooving on their new gig, right? They want to get in and get out. But we're going to talk about the final inspection process. Essentially is that zero punch list, like you mentioned. Can it happen? Is it true? Is it a myth or is it a reality?
It can happen. Mm-hmm. It definitely can happen. I'm a mess today. My shirt's all unbuttoned. What's going on? Sorry.
Oh my gosh, we're a mess.
Adult show.
Yeah, no. Seriously. And thanks for watching. We know that there are a couple of watch parties out there, which is getting kind of fun. And for those of you who are silently watching in the background, we appreciate your viewership as well.
Do not stay silent is what I say. Join the conversation. Let's have a little bit of fun today. Today is fun. Today will be, I think, somewhat controversial for others because I believe there's a whole lot of builders out there that do not think that zero punch list is an option.
Right. I mean,
or could happen.
This is part of the legacy, right? The hangover that happens in construction. It's all about looking forward, moving forward. And zero punch list is totally not a new thing. This has been around for a really long time, and it transcends industries. It's not just a construction thing. But what we're saying is that some people are slow on the uptake, right? And it's funny. We had George Casey on yesterday, who left us with so many amazing quotes. But one of the things that he was talking about, which I love, which is totally t-shirt worthy. And I've seen t-shirts out there saying this, lead, follow, or get out of the way. So in terms of zero punch list, this is like a lead, we got to follow the lead of zero punch lists and work toward that.
Sure.
And what we're going to do today is connect the dots because the zero punch list is not just good for the builder. It's good for all of the trade partners, and it is extremely good for the client. So it's a win on every single level.
Yeah, it really is a win on every single level. And listen, the fact of the matter is when we spend 4, 5, 3, whatever months you spend building, why is there a punch list? Like, it makes no sense to me. I mean, listen, okay, I have punch lists. We all have punch lists. I get it. I'm not saying we don't have any punch lists, but some punch lists are so extensive and they wait for other people to tell them about it when you know you have to do it.
I know. And this drags down the whole project. It leaves the last taste in the mouth for everybody, the client, the trades, the builder. You want everyone feeling really good, ending on a high. So what we're talking about is we should be punch listing every single day, right?
Every single day. Every day you should touch everything in your house. Well, if you don't do it, your project manager should do it. Your people should do it. Shouldn't walk past things that are not done unless they're scheduled to be done.
Yeah. So again, welcome everybody. We have some fun folks watching us from the crowd, so we know it'll be a good conversation. Hi, Rick. Thanks for joining.
What's up, Rick, man? I'm telling you what, dude, you had some great questions yesterday. I mean, phenomenal questions. When you can get George Casey's mind going with your question, Anthony Gooday's questions, several other, George, I think you had some questions. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a smart guy. He's been doing this a long time. And he just knows everything and everybody in this industry, and that makes it so much fun.
Yeah, and like you said, he's super nice and giving of his time and his information, and that's what this is all about, right? Hashtag collaborate to innovate. This is what we all win together. Totally
collaborate to innovate. What's up, Titus? glad you could join us today. Look forward to having the discussion. Please comment, like, share, tell us we're full of it, whatever you want to do. I mean, it all happens on our shows, and it's here to have an open discussion, and everything we do is to grow our offsite world, whether it's modular, panelized SIPs, whatever the case is. It's time to change the way we build, and it starts here.
Absolutely.
Starts here. All right, so we're going to get into this, Jennifer. Well, you know what? I can't do that to George. Hold on. Always tuning in from Phoenix, Arizona. Love it, love it, love it. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I bet George really embraces this as well in the industry that he's in with Surefoot foundations. I mean, there's no room for error with the foundations. You can't go back a couple of months later and fix something on a punch list item. So definitely we're sure that this is a topic near and dear to your heart as well.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, in Surefoot foundations, by the way, are simple to put in. You can move them around, which is super cool, but we're going to get into that, right, George? We're going to have a conversation on that, I hope. I think that's fun. We definitely need to. And one last one real quick. Look who it is. It's David Tulin from Allentown, PA. He's in the house.
Awesome.
What's up, David? New intro today. Did you like it? You should. David Tulin helped me make that intro. Thank you, David. All right, let's hop into it here. Let me do my screen share again because I ended up messing that one up.
Yeah, make sure you share the right screen and
boom.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're going to fly through this, but essentially, in terms of final inspections and the zero punch list, it's all intertwined. Where are you going with this? You're all over. And final inspections, zero punch list, the client experience, they all go hand in hand. Let's talk about it.
All right, are we going to start on this page, Jennifer, or are we moving to the next page?
Go to the next one. All right, so the builder, the building official, the client, everybody is doing a final inspection on your project, right? The building inspector has to sign off on it. But every day, like we said, the builder should be doing a final inspection. The
builder or somebody on his team, right? George Casey spoke about this yesterday. Accountability.
Right.
There needs to be accountability. If there's no accountability, it doesn't get done. That is the key to zero punch list. Who is responsible for zero punch list? And that's where the process begins, is having somebody that is accountable to make this happen. When you're in a house or your trades are in a house, project manager or somebody in your staff's in that house, day in and day out, they need to touch everything. They need to walk through. They need to fix it when they see it. They need to write it down when they see it.
Yeah.
There's no reason to get to the end of the game here and have a punch list.
Right. So let's just start about some final inspections and the building inspector and talk about what we should be gearing up for every day, because that's the end result. The end result is you want to pass all of your inspections with flying colors on the first try and hand over this project. So this is why we're saying the builder or somebody on the team or the trade partners need to be looking at this daily. And again, something that George mentioned yesterday in the discussion of the McKinsey report were these super trades. Haven't had any experience with these super trades. So right now, a lot of the work that we're doing is still individual trade partners, right? Your plumber, your electrician. So how do you get them on the same page as you so that you're gearing up and one and done? You want to pass these and move on.
Yeah, super trades are a big thing, and it's happening already. There are companies that are doing this. Imagine the world where you have a super trade that handles all of your site work, all of your finish, all of your plumbing, electrical, all of those things.
Right?
All of them. And they go job to job to job for you on a regular basis. That is a super trade. And that is how the whole network's going to start growing, and Offsite's really going to go to the next level.
Absolutely. And there are so many amazing cloud-based programs out there that can help you with this and communicate with your trade partners, check off daily to-dos, get that schedule out there, and really making sure that what you said was going to happen is really happening. It's so easy to snap a photo with your phone, post it on that daily log, share it with everybody, the GC, the project manager, whomever that senior manager is on site. And so that alleviates the need for that person to be on site every single day. Utilize the technology that's out there.
Yeah, and that was another big part of George Casey's conversation yesterday. I'm going to keep saying George Ryman because George is done. So technology needs to be embraced This is the opportunity for offsite construction modular builders to embrace technology. And it doesn't have to be BIM to start off because it's expensive. We get that. But simplified, co-construct, builder trend type programs that can manage that process, and you can communicate regularly. No different than we communicate right now every day. We're all texting each other. We're all filling things out. That's how these programs work. So I highly suggest you check into them.
Yeah, these are just two solutions. And there's so much, that happens before this and after this. There's bigger programs, end-to-end solutions like Jordy was talking about from Moducore, where that's that full start to finish type of software. And then there's just your own process as well. If you're not at a point where you can embrace these cloud-based programs, whatever your process is, implement it and use it daily and use it consistently and make sure everybody's trained and aware and using it daily as well.
Are you saying garbage in, garbage out?
In fewer words, yes. I guess that is what you could
garbage
say.
In, garbage out. We all build systems, but sometimes they get dusty pretty quick.
Oh, they do.
Right? Life gets in the way, but that's how you get out of it, is by sticking through those systems. So let's kind of talk about, the builder here a little bit, Jennifer, and we're going to go back to the building official, because in my mind, the building official should be the last person. In this process, right? So, and I know in our demonstration here, we put up the builder, the building official, and then the client.
Yeah, and you know what? It's kind of, you're absolutely right, Dave. The building official and the builder, all intertwined. And if you begin with the end in mind, which is those building inspections and the client's excitement and satisfaction with the project, that's your goal, right? Pass all your inspections, pass the project off, and do all of that with flying colors. But the builder has to be there every step of the way.
Yeah, for sure. So what does that mean, Jen, right? So we talk in our high horse, we're sitting here telling everybody this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. But it's systemized is really what it is. It's training, it's culture.
Yeah.
That was another word used yesterday, and I think about it. Culture.
Big word.
Yeah, I'm going to type it. It's so big.
Oh my gosh.
I know, but listen, it's a big deal, right? Because culture drives performance.
It does. And that, again,
and accountability.
Yeah. And connecting the dots. So with the culture of the zero punch list agenda, if you will, if there are people on your team who don't believe in the zero punch list, who don't believe it's possible, they may not be the right fit for your culture.
Not at all.
So think about that. You want believers on your team. You want people who ooze with excitement and really embrace the strategy, the technology, and everything else, because that is how you'll be successful.
Yeah, very much so. So listen, if you guys are just joining us, we are live on 3 platforms: YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. If you are out there watching, please comment. We need your comments, and please like and share. And also please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's now growing. It looks halfway decent.
We're getting there.
We are getting there. We'd really appreciate it. And what we are going to be doing out after this one, we're going to start deep diving into certain portions of this. We did kind of an overview, and we're going to finish this overview here now, but it's going to dive a little bit deeper as we go. There's so much to talk about.
Yeah. And we're super excited as things lift and getting back on the road, and hopefully bring to you some on location conversations as well, which will be real fun.
It is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going down to the Carolinas. Where are we going? We're going out to California.
Yeah, DC,
Tennessee.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of road trips where we're going to be bringing you live feeds from factories, from suppliers, from home builders, everybody. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this, Jennifer. Enough about what we're doing.
Let's get into the zero punch list. What do you think? Why don't we go straight to our slide?
I love it.
And again, thank you to everybody for joining us and sticking with us. And here we go. We're going to talk about hitting that target.
So how do you hit the target, Jen?
Well, first, I want to say, I mean, as you can see here, punch lists result from some kind of process failure. That's what we're talking about. So how do you hit the target? Define acceptance criteria early with your teams, with your trade partners. What do you accept and what is not hitting the benchmark? If you define that early and often, essentially daily with your team, then there should be no missing the mark. You should be hitting it each 100%. Time.
100%. If you have trades, but you do not have a scope of work
Exactly.
for those trades, it's not going to work. It's like McDonald's. They can build the same hamburger over and over and over again in hundreds of thousands of locations. Why? There's a process. And there's a very specific training process. So the zero punch list starts with not only yourself, but the trades. The trades understand, just like kids, and I'm not saying trades are kids. It's not what I'm saying, but you got to set the boundaries. Everybody needs to know where their job begins and ends, and where their responsibility begins and ends. And we all build to certain levels, right? You got first-time home builders out there, that are hitting an entry-level market. And then we have other builders that are doing multi-million-dollar structures. And then there's commercial. And believe me, the commercial people are really held accountable for their finish product. So it starts with your trade partners. They need to understand what is reality and what's not reality for them. And once they understand that, they're going to do a great job for you.
They will. And people, they do like rules. They do like boundaries. They like to know this is acceptable and this is not. And, before and after pictures are great ways to do this. Leading by example, right? If you expect all of your trade partners to tidy up at the end of every day, well, make sure that your on-staff folks are doing the same thing. You can't expect somebody to execute to a level that your own team is not executing to. So keep that in mind. Lead by example, communicate what's acceptable, and watch it daily, weekly, whatever that appropriate amount of time is. Don't wait 6 months. And we talked about this with the factory too, right? Because your factory is your number one trade partner in modular manufacturing. So don't wait 6 weeks to report that something came from the factory broken or disassembled or crooked or whatever it might be. Be timely about your reports.
Yeah. And unfortunately, all right, here we go on the factories a little bit. The factories need to get this mindset as well. Right. Fixing things in the field, that they all do it. Well, at least most of them do it. And some of them are finally starting to change that, but they are your trade partners. And if you set the standards with your factories as well, and you work through those standards, that's going to help the factory change as well. But the reality of it is, you're right, Jen, they are a huge trade partner. They need to understand 100% what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. An example would be some factories will miter trim. In other words, they'll just miter it together.
Right.
Good factories are going to take the time to cope that trim and put it together. Right. So you just have to know what level you're looking for, but there's a cost with that. So with that said.
Yeah. And it's funny because Rick, you actually said it. If you go into the comments, Dave, Rick said, would you agree that the zero punch list begins with the delivery day walkthrough and inspection? Absolutely, Rick. This is totally what we're talking about.
This is why you're going to be on the show, Rick. For the love of God, man. Come on.
You're reading our minds and completing our sentences. It's a little frightening.
Yeah. Love it.
But yeah, so, and George just commented as well, maybe it should read zero punch list items remain at final walkthrough, as in all items have already been previously identified and addressed. So true. The punch list is a daily thing. It's not something that you wait until the end of the project.
Yeah.
It's no different than creating a grocery list before you go to the grocery store, or, any type of preparation for the next day's work. You should always be reviewing what was completed in this day's work and look toward tomorrow and not leave it all to the end.
100%. I always say, even when we were building, Jennifer, and our modulars would come, and we all know there's already finished rooms in modulars in general. There's finished rooms.
Right.
Don't touch everything in that room. Right. Nail holes, the factories don't get all the nail holes right, and the putty sinks and all that stuff. Do all your punch list, shut that door, lock that door, put a sign up that says, if you enter here, I will beat you silly.
Well, actually, what I would do is put a sign up in that room and say, we punched this room out. Come look and see how perfect this room is. So if this is the first of 100 rooms that you're building,
all rooms should look like
show
this.
Everybody this very first room, punch out that first room. And that way you don't have to check the next 99.
That's right.
You already gave them a visual of what your expectation is. And then you can manage differently.
You can. You really can. And it's the low hanging fruit. I always say, let's get the low hanging fruit off, and then let's function and work every day on the pieces that should be worked on. That's where it all comes together, and what makes modular so great.
Totally.
So here, another comment, and then we're going to keep moving on here. Communication upfront, lock the scope, and schedule in great way to guarantee success. See, I love it. You're absolutely right, Tom. 100%. I mean, you know, I know there's quite a few of you out there that get it, but we all know this is why we get a bad rap in construction in general, right? Because we don't follow through with the proper finish and techniques and being masters of our trades. And when you're a master of your trade, it's going to take you a long, long way. And we'll get into that.
Yeah, this is definitely a topic that's easy to talk about and not so easy to execute. But if you establish that culture where everybody embraces this mindset, and Dave, you actually said it, if we go back to our list, it brings us to number 2. What you were saying is the factory should adopt that client mindset. Once it's off the line, once it's ready for transport, the factory isn't done. They have to look at this with a client's eyes. And the client is not just the builder, but it's also the occupant who will take over the project. So really the factories need to leapfrog 2 steps ahead and look at this with the eyes of the builder. Would my builder accept this? And also from the client. Will this be a pleasing, healthy experience for my client? And those are the questions that the factories and the trade partners should be asking themselves.
100%. Would I live in this house? Does this meet my level of satisfaction? And that's different for everybody. I know it. Like, listen, I know it. I've been in some of these big, you know, over the top done homes. I would love it, but, you know, obviously it's out of my budget. But the reality of it is, you know, you got to ask yourself, does it meet your satisfaction? Is it something you would want? Yeah.
And does it also meet what you sold the client? So, you know, 2 different things. Your level of satisfaction where you personally live may not be a reflection of what your company or your team is selling, you know, so they can be different, and that's fine. But whatever you promise to your client is what you should be delivering and inspecting for in the end. So definitely adopt that client mindset, because in the end, they will be the final judge and jury, right? Nobody wants to see a mechanic's lien come through.
In the end, they're going to be giving you a punch list. So just get it done.
Yeah.
That's basically it, right? If it's done right, nobody can do a punch list. That's the whole idea. I mean, there are some customers, I get it, that'll nitpick natural wood because it has a different color in the stain or what have you, but it's wood. We get that. But the reality of it is.
Yeah. And I know I probably use these words too much, but exactly. You know, last week we talked a lot about kindness and compassion. Again, in the world that we're living in right now, we just really need to send more kindness and compassion out there. So when you're on a job site and you know a trade is coming in behind you. So if you're, you know, let's pretend that you're getting the siding up for the electrician to come in and put that panel box up, right? Think about
trades
them
being nice to each other.
Yeah, like think about the next trade who is following you, who's coming in behind you, because guess what? They're also a referral business for you. If your plumber, you know, secures a job and the homeowner is looking for an electrician, or the client's looking for an electrician or an HVAC coordinator, and they love the work you do and you're easy to work with, they just sold you the job, right?
100%.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
100%. Live for referrals, right?
Yeah. Always be selling.
Our motto has always been, unless you have referrals, you're a startup business every year.
It's true. It's true. And we're going to get into that a little bit more when we talk about the client. So adopt that client mindset, adopt that customer mindset, and always think about everybody as your client, not just the final occupant, but the other trade partners and the folks who will be touching the product downstream. It'll
love it.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. So number 3.
I love number 3. Look for patterns and address accordingly. So this is more for a volume builder.
It is, but it's also for builders who use the same trade partners or trusted advisors, you know, job after job. If somebody, you know, if your electrician is constantly adding stuff at the end, you know?
Right. So if it's one off, it's one thing, but like what we're talking about is the pattern. So even if it's one job after another job after another job, if you look back at your paperwork and you have good documentation, Builder Trend, Co-Construct, any of those are similar. We don't get endorsed by them, but hey, if you want to, look us up. The reality of it is that once you have data and you can track your data, then you can fine tune where your money's going out the door.
I love how you just said that, because time is money, right? Jerry McCaughey always talks about this. How much does it cost to have your trades on a job site 1 extra day, 2 extra days? And if you don't know how to calculate that, number one, you should, or at least in rough numbers, be able to. But the other thing is, when you hindsight a job, and we strongly recommend you hindsight every job, you will find money, you will find margin, and you will find profit that just slipped through your fingers. And you can plan for that in the next job. Yeah,
a simple way to think about that, and I had this conversation not too long ago. If your job for, let's say, a modular single-family home is 100 days from start to finish, and you run over 10 days,
right?
Not that big of a deal, right? Wrong. That's 10%.
And time is money.
And time is money. So when you start calculating that out, what it really did to you and your job budget, these things are going to add up over time. And I think once you understand it, especially if you're doing more than 1 home a year, let's say that happens on 5 homes a year or 20 homes a year, or some builders are doing well over hundreds of homes per year, or commercial jobs, all of these things. It's all the same puzzle.
Yeah. And this is so much more critical for those smaller builders who are just doing a few jobs, let's say under 10 homes a year or 10 projects a year, because typically you want to stay in your neighborhood. You want to stay in a radius
defined area
of where you live. So people talk, right? People totally talk, and you want to be able to hold your head up high in your area and say, I own this. These 10 square miles, 100 square miles, 50, whatever it might be. You want people speaking of you and referring you. And even if you've never done work for them, if they heard from a friend of a friend of a friend, well, all of a sudden the power of word of mouth is on your side.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. You know what the best part about offsite is?
What's that?
It's less waste. It's less time. It's less everything. So if you're a stick builder and you're watching this, let's talk.
I know. In and out a lot faster.
In and out a lot faster. So with that said, Jennifer, the whole idea of look for patterns and address accordingly. Let's kind of summarize that. The bottom line is this: all jobs have the same trades on them, day in and day out. If you're using the same trades over and over, and even if you're not, but if you are, then you can fine tune those processes. Don't just accept change orders. Don't just accept, hey, well, the factory framed this wrong, so I had to go around it. And now, Mr. Builder, this is your responsibility. These trades should be part of your entire system. The plumber, the MEP guys, all should be part of the system, working through it.
Yeah.
And you need to define that. You win some, you lose some on occasion, but the reality of it is you can fine tune this in a very, very sleek and efficient cost savings way.
Repeatable, scalable way.
That's right.
And that's where, we win. We want repeat business. We want to scale. We want to be able to lead by example and train others easily. And what you want to do is look, inspect, watch out for these patterns, but do it early, do it often, and don't wait till the end.
Do not wait till the end. That's the key of this whole thing. We should have it flash up. Do not wait.
I know. And I know it feels like we're preaching to the choir, but it is easier to talk about than do.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get in some of these houses and really talk about what zero punch list looks like. We were out in Blackstreet at the module project, and they had a huge whiteboard. Remember?
They did. You're right. A huge whiteboard.
And every day they were looking at this whiteboard, and you had to literally walk right by it in order to get into the project. And it was talking about what needed to be done that day, that week.
Safety.
Absolutely.
Safety, cleanup responsibilities.
There was a broom right there. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And a medical kit in case somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
So they really had that well organized while we were there, for sure. All right, Jennifer.
Where are we going next?
I don't know. Let me get that off the screen so we can see it.
Yeah, we're done with this. And now how about we wrap this all up and talk about the clients and how this all comes together for them?
I'm trying.
I know. So while you're doing that, I'm going to look over here also. The zero punch list. So, go back to that other one, the building official and final inspection. So
we didn't really dive into this.
We didn't. Do you want to talk about this for a minute?
Yeah. So let's talk about it. So most people, like we said in the beginning, wait for the building official to walk through and hand you
and find out what's wrong.
Yeah. To hand you what you didn't do right. If you're a builder, and I know the code book's thick and it's constantly changing, it's up to you still to educate yourself. It's up to you to educate your team or make sure your team's getting the education they need to stay on top of these things, because that small amount of education is going to save you time in the field. And that's where the money really gets spent. So constantly having that education. So why would we wait for the building official to tell us what's wrong? It would be so much better, wouldn't it, if the building official came through and said, Dave, the last 3 houses, I could barely find anything. And then he calls you one day. Did you do it right? Uh-huh. Okay. And he signs off and sends you what you want.
Yeah. Now we're waving our magic wands. So,
well, but these relationships are built. We've built relationships like this over the years if you're doing it right. Yeah. So they have to show up. But the reality of it is, don't wait for the building official for your MEP inspections. Don't wait for the building official to make sure your stair height is not 9 inches when it should be under 8 inches or what have you with the rise. There's all these little things that we know and we try and get by.
Yeah.
And don't do that because it costs you more money.
We just had this experience the other day where we were looking at a deck, remember? And the concrete footer hadn't been poured all the way behind the stairs.
You kidding me, right? The tread just came right down. The treads were sitting in the dirt and they put a concrete pad in front of the treads.
Yeah. Yeah. So we see this all the time. It's not.
Yeah, it's painful.
These are shortcuts. And when you're building a brand, when you're building a reputation, when you're building up your client base, these things matter. And now with social media, oh my gosh, people are taking photos of this, posting it online. You really don't want that.
No, it's so easy to get a bad name today. And it's just important to do it right. And we know we have a lot of tried and true builders watching us here, but this is also for the replay of those entering the market because our industry is growing and offsite. So that's why we wanted to keep this first series at a very high level.
Yeah.
The second series we'll deep dive, and then deep dive.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be pretty deep.
It's already deep.
Get your boots. You're going to need them. Hip waders if you're fishermen.
Yeah. So the other thing is you also don't want your client catching wind that your home or your project failed inspections multiple times. That will just open up the door of doubt. And we want to keep that door closed. We want to open up the door of positivity and great referrals and all of that good stuff.
Referrals.
Exactly. So this is also something that Mr. Casey talked about yesterday as he was breaking down the McKinsey report, right? He took this 100-page document and shared it. Basically you and he had a conversation in very simple terms. And at the
I actually listened is what I was doing.
And we're getting great feedback from it. So that's exciting. The transaction versus the relationship. If you are looking at this project as a single transaction with your client where they pay you for the work that you're doing, the product that you're producing, and it's a one and done, that's very different than building a relationship, an ongoing relationship with the client. Yeah. And the relationship starts it's there every step of the way. It's not just during the construction. And that relationship will serve you well. Like you said, if you're not in the referral business, you're a startup.
That's right. It's amazing, right? Everybody says, oh, well, I have the calendar. You'll be happy right here. And then you'll see it dips right here. And this is when you're going to hate me, but you're going to be happy here again. And then it dips, right? I mean, everybody's seen the NAHB, I think, put a calendar out like that. The life cycle of the customer. Why?
I know. And listen, pitfalls do happen. Bumps in the road happen.
Yeah, they do, but come on.
But it doesn't have to be every step of the way. So when you think about that relationship with the client, number one, you want to deliver an amazing product and an amazing experience. And if you're punching out your list daily, that will contribute to that for sure. And when you're thinking about that final experience, that final walkthrough, right? It's like something we all dread. It shouldn't be. It should be a moment of rejoice, where you're pulling out your cell phone and taking a selfie of your client hugging you, saying, "This is an unbelievable home project. I can't believe how smoothly it went. And then bam, then you're posting that on social media, right? That's a great moment.
It is a great moment. I mean, that's one that we've lived for. I have several videos of just that at the end, being invited back into the customer's house. We do a video together, testimonials.
Yeah. And you want to come back, whether it's to photograph that home, receive that testimonial, whatever it might be, you want to be welcomed back. And that is such an amazing feeling when that happens.
It really is.
So when you think about that, this part of the relationship with your client, number one, this could be the first of many homes they build with you, or that their family builds with you, especially, geographically, like we've had clients who build their first primary residence and then their secondary home with us as well, which is always a good day.
And then downsize, so, this could go, you could have 4 homes, and you should have referral business every year or repeat business. Did I say that?
I know.
Repeat business and home building? Yeah. I mean, listen, Ellie and our world, 2 homes back to back, not back to back, but a couple years later, it's out there and you're going to get it so long you're doing the right thing, but it takes time.
Yeah.
And effort.
Yeah. And so when you're thinking about this, Mark Willie talks about this, love Mark. And he says, when you buy a car, you get a homeowner's or a
manual,
right?
Yeah, I'll put it up.
There we go.
Ever expanding results. Hey, Mark, I saw you pop in there, my friend. I hope you're well. BS Friday coming up.
Exactly. Love that BS Friday.
Why shouldn't a house get a manual?
I know.
There's so many moving parts in a house. There's so many things that have to be done. A home should get a manual, just like when you buy something new. Everything you buy gets a manual.
Right.
Except for a house.
And again, there are amazing cloud-based digital tools out there that can help you create this if you don't want to, create all of that paper and kill all those trees or hand over a 10-inch binder to your homeowner. Simple things, right? Like the appliances. And when you're going through that walkthrough with your clients, make sure all those appliances are working, functional, everything is doing what it's supposed to do, the lights, light switches, the water, all of that. But don't just hand them over, a folder full of manuals and warranty, and they don't know what to do with all that. Make it easy to use, easy to find. And again, there are amazing digital tools out there that can help you do this.
There really are. And you made a good point. You brought up a memory of, a client saying, well, there's no light bulbs. And I remember a builder saying, well, you have to get the light bulbs. And I'm going, well, how the hell do you even know if they work?
Right.
Did somebody go up there and put in, 40 recessed lights? So little things like that, really, for a few $100. But these things happen. It's all about the customer experience. You want the customer to love you, be happy, and be your salesperson. That's the bottom line in any transaction, commercial, residential, whatever it is. Let's do some comments real quick.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to run down the list. So, Tom, communication up front, watch the scope of schedule, and great ways to guarantee success. Did I already use that one?
We did. That's okay. It's a good message, Tom.
Factory feedback, important, but needs to be based upon agreed scopes and details with the factory during the pre-build conference. You got it.
Absolutely.
Love it. Yep, 100%. 100%. Couldn't agree more. See, your head's big enough the way it is, Tom. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
I know, but good stuff. I mean, again, like everybody here, watching this today with us has definitely drank the same Kool-Aid that we've, been drinking.
Yep.
But this is for folks who are new to the industry and just starting out, or maybe caught up in like some of those legacy practices,
100%.
Who have been in business for 40 years and don't think that a zero punch list is possible. Every day is a new day, and other builders are doing it. Yeah,
for sure. For sure. Dude, I can't wait to deep dive into this. Going to like job sites and being able to show, exactly what the process is, old videos. We're really going to take a look at some of these things. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So the advantage of modular means less trade, personnel involvement on site. So it's important to understand the process and mindset of your major trade partner at the factory.
100%.
Love it. Love it. Man, you guys are busy, Tom and Rick. And do you see any new ways to do business with building officials using technology? Okay. So Alistair from
Right.
Vietnam made this comment, and they are doing virtual inspections. In other words, you don't have to be there. The building inspector can go there and do virtual inspections. And there's apps for this, Tom. The issue we have in our country is politics and the layers of things that it takes to get it done. But do I think it's going to happen? Absolutely. I mean, some states have moved to online permitting, which is step number one to a big move. And the more work there is and the less inspectors there are, right? Where they're overburdened and overworked, they're going to find new ways, hopefully, to pull this together.
Yeah. Especially if we see housing pick up, like economists are calling for it to do. Yeah. The other thing with this, Tom, is, what Dave and I talk about at the end of each episode is partner. Join local building associations, get to know the people in your community. Something that's been exciting, to see happening here in Connecticut is we have Building Officials Night, and had, before the pandemic started, a building officials series, bringing builders and building officials together to really talk.
All the way to the state level, not just local. I mean, we had state level right before this, and it was great. And it was amazing to see the interaction and ideas. Oh, well, that's a great idea. We should look into that. But then you find out where the red tape is and why it makes stuff hard too. But the conversation starts at a very local level.
It does. And when you remove the job site from that conversation and you have it elsewhere, whether it's in your Chamber of Commerce, community room, or at a local restaurant, or wherever it might be, if a local builder hosts the event for that on that day, if you take the conversation out of the job site, all of a sudden it's like a different tone.
It is.
There is collaboration that can happen for sure.
Yeah, they want to work together.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing the stories you'll hear, right?
I know.
Amazing the stories. They like, and they put their life in danger quite often. People get disconnected or what have you, and they're up there rewiring their own stuff and then getting threatened if they disconnect them again. I mean, there's, once you get into the building inspector's shoes outside of just your own job site and you start hearing some of these things, you're like, wow.
Yeah. So kindness and compassion.
Kindness. And there we go. Back to kindness and compassion. Kindness and compassion. There's a new t-shirt. All right. Any thoughts about including building officials in the pre-construction meetings? Has this ever helped? I will tell you what I am a big fan in. And yes, Tom, is the short answer. The long answer is this. Especially when you're in a new town. Or you're building in a new area, I always think it's great to go in, schedule an appointment with the building inspector with your plans, and just say, hey, what is the particulars that you really are looking out for, that I can pay attention to. I don't want to miss anything. I want to do it the way you think it should be done. Right. We're going to follow all building codes, but we all know every building inspector has their own little pet peeve. Whatever that is. So yes, one, that's great. Two, it lets them know that you're considering doing things their way, as long as they're within code. And I think it builds relationships, and you'll have a better time on site with these people if you build that relationship prior to them coming up and riding you on something.
Yeah. And just a couple of things to add to that. Like in some of these urban locations, building inspectors are crazy busy. So you don't want to waste their time. You definitely want to be clear, concise, direct, and kind in your engagements with these building officials. The other thing I would add to that is, especially if it's a complicated or complex site, or there's some type of outside elements that you need to really be looking for, definitely reach out to those local building officials. So for example, we did the access construction and ModLogic set for Good Samaritan Hospital down in West Islip. They sped up the process because of what was happening globally. Yep. And this was in addition to a hospital, and they expedited the process down there. I can guarantee you that there were some really great offline conversations that happened in terms of how do we fast track this? This is a complex situation that we're dealing with right now. We need this hospital up and running. We can't be disruptive to the job site. The healthcare workers need to safely get in and out. That's a great example of people working together, having those conversations and fast tracking something.
Ribbon cutting ceremony, July 22nd, I just saw.
Wow.
I think it was July 22nd. And that was only last month we were there.
It's crazy.
7,000 square feet of pediatric emergency room. If you haven't seen that video, you guys got to go check it out. Yeah. But either way, Jennifer's absolutely right. That hospital wasn't in response to COVID. It was already pre-planned. Right. So just to make that clear. But the reality of it is all the building officials, everybody, if you, all right, here we go. Put out your kindness.
Here comes the soapbox.
And you go and you no. If you go and you speak to the people, you know people like people. People are willing to help people. I think it's all about how you approach it, Tom, and I think you already know that as well. So that was a great comment. All right, Jennifer, what do we have? Let me put this back up.
Where are we?
Well, I don't know. I can't get it up.
Oh gosh.
Where is it? There it is. Right. All right. So transaction versus relationship. We talked about that. So that's really it.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's about the partnership. I know. We're trying to keep these shorter and sweeter because we're saving your attention span for when we're on location and out on job sites.
I know it's a lot. I mean, hey, listen, there's a lot to cover in all of these topics: building inspections, building officials, the client. I mean, we could get into the whole client life cycle at one of these, times on the show. But the reality of it is, don't wait. Right. Build your processes now. Build your processes with the trade partners. Define the process. I guarantee, and I said it earlier, like McDonald's, you go to McDonald's, there is a book and a picture that shows you this is what it is, this is what it will look like.
Right.
If it doesn't look like that, throw it away.
Yeah. Yeah. And what you really do want is to be able to go back and photograph that home so you can show future clients, this is what this is, and this is what it looks like. And don't wait until all the furniture is moved in and the landscaping is done. Photograph that home every step of the way. And just that way you can show your client, hey, this is what it's going to look like after the plumbers, come in, and this is what it's going to look like after the flooring or before the flooring comes in. It's always great to have those photographs so that you can set those benchmarks and those expectations visually. Who wants to sit there and type out a description of what the client can expect when you can actually show them a picture? I know.
No, you're not gonna catch me typing. That's why I do videos. Like I'm good at this, but this, it's not my cup of tea to sit there and write. So, all right, everyone. Do we have any more comments? Let's take a quick look here.
Yeah, I mean, a couple of thank yous. And you know what? Oh my gosh, go to the last slide because
did I skip some? Awesome paradigm shift.
Yeah. No, I love that. Stay on the positive and proactive mindset. Great concepts. Totally agree. And it's not unique. It's not something I came up with. There are so many folks in the industry and out of the industry who embrace that.
Yeah, let me blow this up.
Yeah, so this is what we really want to share with everybody. We're sandwiched in between some amazing guests that we have.
That doesn't look very good, does it?
What happened?
I don't know.
Oh, goodness. All right. So while Dave is trying to figure that out.
Technical glitches, Jennifer. There we are. Got it.
Well, we need to go to the last slide now. Oh,
I was on the last slide.
Well, there we go. Here we have it.
I was on the last slide.
Yeah.
All right. Have at it.
So like I was saying, we're sandwiched in between some amazing guests this week. We had the McKinsey report and George Casey yesterday. Tomorrow we have Thomas Simpson from Digibuilt.
Yep, Digibuilt.
Which, I mean, I am super excited. We're talking about software, BIM, all this good stuff, right?
So it's like a BIM platform. Thomas used to work for the Navy. And I mean, this guy is smart, especially he's a BIM expert.
He's wicked smart.
He's wicked smart, as they'd say up in Boston or Maine. If you talk to George Casey, he got that kind of accent when we were talking. But either way, so Thomas Simpson, Digibuilt, if you want to look at what he is doing and their company when it comes to designing and laying out the home in subdivisions and multifamily projects, commercial, it's absolutely amazing. I know everybody's gonna say, "Oh, it's another BIM project." It is not. Yeah. It tracks the data. It tells you how many. I hope I'm getting all this right. How many nails you need. It is that sophisticated and it is that cool.
So that's going to be fun. And then Thursday we have Miles Biggs, but also
Biggs Ideas is going to be back on Thursday. He better be. He's on every Thursday.
I know, but who do we have?
You don't even know Professor Nez. I know you know that. It's right in front of you.
I know. We love Professor Nez. If you want to know anything about LinkedIn, personal branding, he is an accomplished author, #1 coach on LinkedIn. Amazing individual. And
top 4 LinkedIn coaches for the last 4 years. He's been the top #1 LinkedIn coach.
And he fits right into my whole theme of kindness and compassion because he is so nice.
Yeah.
I'm so super excited about that. And then, of course, we have Mark Willie on Friday. And who doesn't like a good Friday with Mark Willie?
Mark, I got a surprise for you Friday.
Oh, no.
Oh, I do. Mark, I got a surprise for you. You think you have more hair than me? You wait till Friday.
Oh my gosh.
Friday's going to be a whole nother show. You don't even know it's coming yet.
So remember how we were talking about it getting deep? This is what we mean. But anyway.
I learned some new tricks.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah. Thank you to everybody for joining today.
Yeah, today was a good day. I'm glad we got to talk through these things. We're going to start deep diving into this stuff. It's going to be a little bit more intense. Hopefully, we're going to have a little bit more deep dive conversations with everybody. So please keep liking and sharing our content. And please go to our YouTube channel. It's in the comments. Really want to get our subscribers up. You can watch all these videos, past and future, on our YouTube channel. And guess what? Don't we have a new website getting ready to launch, Jen?
Let's not talk about it. Let's just say goodbye.
New YouTube channel, our website channel coming up this week, next week. It's coming up fast. All right, everybody. I'm Dave Cooper.
Jennifer Cooper, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, this has been a great day. We will see you tomorrow, 6 days a week tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Bye now.
Bye, everybody.